What do you know about air? Except that it's invisible and still moves the earth. What do you know about water? Except that it finds its way. What do you know about fire? Except that it starts with a small spark. And what do we really know about time? Except that it ties everything. Now bring them all together and mix some flour in. What happens now is magic that moves, finds its way, starts with a spark and bakes itself to glory. We are talking about magic that happens in the kitchen. Come experience magic. Hi everyone and welcome to I Want to Bake Free with me, Maria Goretti. So, we are dedicating today's episode to all those badmash bacche we know, especially my two, जो खाने पीने में इतना पी पू ची चा करते हैं. You know, बच्चों को junk food से जितना प्रेम है, उतना ही they run away from healthy food. So today we're going to do some clever cooking and make the junk food healthy. You know what? Secretly, I have to admit that हम सब में वो एक छोटा बच्चा है that doesn't always enjoy healthy food like dal. But when presented in an interesting manner, we just love it. Now I know how to do this smart. इसलिए आज I'm going to be baking a lentil bread. My kid's favorite, mini veggie pizza. Very, very scary buttercream fondant ghost cake. So today, let us start making our lentil bread. You know, every time I'm making something that's seriously healthy, I see to it that I never, ever tell the kids that it's healthy. So, here it is. You take your soaked and ground urad dal paste, because now that is exactly what it is. So into this, you add salt, a little pepper, flax seeds, then of course, a nice big squeeze of lime. You have baking powder, and you have tapioca powder. So mix this all up. So now this is our loaf tray. All I'm going to do is smear it with some butter. Our dough is ready to go into the oven. So frankly, I would allow my kids to eat as many slices of this bread as possible, smeared with cheese or smeared with butter. It's absolutely fine because this is so healthy that everything's good. So now this is going to get into the oven, 200 degrees for about 30 to 35 minutes. So 30 minutes are up, our bread is ready, so let's go get it. This is it. So simple and so quickly baked. So take a look at the recap and come right back.
To make lentil bread, in a bowl, add 200 grams soaked and ground urad dal paste, 1 teaspoon salt, half teaspoon black pepper powder, 1 teaspoon flax seeds, 1 tablespoon lemon juice, 1.5 teaspoon baking powder, 60 gram tapioca powder. Mix it well. Smear 1 to 2 tablespoon butter in a baking container and pour the prepared batter in it. Now, in a preheated oven at 200 degrees Celsius, bake for 30 to 35 minutes. Your lentil bread is ready.
So more than cooking cooking for kids, I have fun cooking with kids, which is of course very different from cooking the kids. No, but you know what? हर Sunday मैं अपने बच्चों को kitchen संभालना देती हूँ. So my husband and I want to see what all cooking they can be up to. One of their favorite foods is always a pizza. So I let them assemble whatever they like and pop it in the oven. And so today, let's bake my kids' favorite, mini veggie pizza. So making a pizza is always so much of fun. There's so much of excitement that goes on in a kitchen when we're rolling the dough and, everyone thinks that they are like, just come back from Italy and stuff like that. Well, let me tell you, this dough is very easy to make. And this is something that can be done in a jiffy because it does not even take that much of time. Yeast, which is already activated. After the yeast, I'm going to be putting a little pinch of salt and then some oil. I'm going to add water to this. And I'm going to just bring it together. I'm just going to bring this together onto my really clean tabletop. Okay, our dough is ready. So now I'm just going to leave this to brew. In this bowl, a little oil. We're not going to leave this for really long, just about 10 minutes to kind of rest. And now we're going to make a really yummy veg topping. So first you need some fire, then you need a pan, and then you need some olive oil. A little bit of garlic. So the reason I'm going to be sauteing the vegetables is not because I need to fully cook them, but because I just need to get rid of that extra moisture. So that when I lay it onto the pizza, it does not leave any water. And of course, then the base of my pizza stays nice and crisp. The only thing I want to saute a little extra is the garlic. Now into this goes our yellow peppers. Just a nice quick saute. We're going to put tomatoes. And then I'm just going to throw in a few olives. Few basil leaves, salt, pepper, and we are done. We are ready. So now we get back to our pizza dough that has been sitting here about 20 minutes. And as you see, it has proved and has quite doubled in size. So I'm going to take this out, put this here, take all the air out of it. Just get this together again. And now I'm going to roll us some pizzas. We're just going to spread the dough out with our hand. So I heard this story about how the pizza came to Italy. Story goes that a gangster from the mafia got it from Greece. So apparently he was there on some nefarious business and he saw the Greeks use dough that was lying around, and the next morning they would put some sauce on that dough. They would put a lot of vegetables on it and throw some cheese on it. and then just put it into the oven. And he came back to Naples, and he then made this pizza. So it was presented to the Queen, and it had the Italian flag on it. It had the colors of the Italian flag, red, white, and green, where red was the tomato sauce, white was the mozzarella cheese, and of course, green was the leaves of basil. And that was the first original margherita pizza. And that's how I believe the pizza came into being. All right, and now for the most fun part, which is to bake our pizzas. So we start with the pizza sauce. A little after our pizza sauce, we're going to load this with mozzarella. And then, of course, there are the vegetables. You're going to get your kids to eat all these vegetables, so it's absolutely fine. Now for our final little touches, we just put a little basil. And I'm just going to sprinkle this with a little olive oil. So my oven is preheated between 200 to 225 is what you need the oven temperature to be for about 10 minutes. I smell yummy pizzas. Whoa. This is really inviting. In fact, it's so inviting that I don't want to share it with anyone. So take a good look at the recap and come right back.
To make mini veg pizzas, for the pizza dough, in a bowl, add 200 gram refined flour, 150 gram whole wheat flour, 30 gram activated yeast, 1 teaspoon salt, 1 tablespoon olive oil and desired water to make a soft dough. Mix all ingredients together and knead it into a dough. In a bowl, smear 1 to 2 tablespoon olive oil and place the dough in it. Proof the dough for 10 minutes under a wet muslin cloth. Once proofed, knead the dough again and roll them into medium-sized balls. Flatten the dough in palm-sized circular shape and your pizza dough is ready. For the topping, heat 1 to 2 tablespoon olive oil in a pan. Add 1 tablespoon chopped garlic, 1 yellow bell pepper, 6 to 7 cherry tomatoes, 6 to 7 black olives, 3 to 4 basil leaves, salt to taste and black pepper to taste. Sauté it. Place the flattened dough on a baking tray and smear 100 gram pizza sauce over it. Add 100 gram mozzarella cheese, vegetables, 3 to 4 chopped basil leaves and 1 to 2 teaspoon olive oil. Now in a preheated oven at 200 to 225 degrees Celsius, bake for 10 minutes. Your mini veg pizzas are ready.
So since I bake so much at home, I am like Santa who requires elves. So I try and involve in the process of baking my kids, my padosi ke bache, my friends ke bache, pure awam ke bache. So kids love to help me with cakes. The beating of the egg se lekar dough banana, फिर cake पर frosting करना, and of course licking the batter. देखो इस तरह मेरा काम भी हो जाता है और बच्चे भी खुश. So today's cake is dedicated to the little ghosts in my life. It's a ghost cake. So I'm going to start with making a very simple sponge cake. So this cake, we're going to do a creaming method, whereby you first put the butter into the bowl. And after the butter is put into the bowl, so as you see, the butter has become nice, creamy, and fluffy. And to this, we're now going to add our castor sugar. So now into this, we're going to be adding our eggs. And into the eggs, I'm going to be adding our vanilla. I'm going to give this all a good whisk. And it's done. So now I'm just going to divide this flour into 4. Now for the last portion. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little milk to just adjust this consistency. This is done. So now that our cake batter is ready, all I need to do is bake. So the first thing I'm going to do is grease my pans. So I need to do basically 2 cakes like this. So I'm going to put another tin full of batter as soon as this gets baked. So basically 2 of this shape and 1 of this. So now this is going to go into the oven, 180 degrees, about 20 to 25 minutes, and then 1 more cake of this shape is going to get into the oven. So our 3 cakes are baked, they're cooled, and now they're ready to start our ghost cake. So, here it is. I'm going to first, with a serrated knife, just chop the head of this cake off. So now that we have our cake all sorted, we have to go to our next part of the cake that the kids love. It's adding buttercream. It's butter and double the amount of sugar or icing sugar. And now, just very, very generously slather this cake with buttercream. And then over this goes our next layer. And onto this, again, we're going to slather buttercream. And since we need to give our ghost some height so that he's really scary, we're going to put another layer. Smear this guy with some more buttercream so that the kids go nuts after eating it. And over this dome, now, so what I'm going to do is I'm putting some buttercream here in the center. And then I'm also going to be adding some cake so that this holds up really well. All right. And now we have to shape this guy. So we start with the side. So what happens is we completely cover this with buttercream, and then we're going to put this into our freezer for 4 hours. So what happens is the buttercream completely freezes on it. So it doesn't lose shape, nothing goes wrong. So hold your knife against the bottom and just give your turntable a lovely swirl. Smoothen all the rough edges. This is the final shaping. Actually, I'm going to put this into my freezer and keep it in my freezer for 4 hours. So my cake has been in this fridge for now 4 hours. But before I take it out, there is some amazing stuff to be done to it. So basically, the ghost bit of it starts now. If you get really scared, hold somebody's hand. All I need is some corn flour. And now this beautiful fondant gets converted into a scary ghost. Here goes. Okay, this is done. Okay, here it is, our absolutely frozen cake. And now, very quickly, we have to roll our fondant very carefully onto, and it goes over our ghost. What I'm now going to be doing is I'm going to be cutting the extras. So now that our ghost is ready, basically I need to give him eyes. I'm just going to put this into a little corn flour, and I'm just going to flatten this up a bit. So what I'm looking for is just 3 circles, because my ghost does have eyes. He can see you because he wants to see you. So 1. And this becomes his nose. So this is the ghost's nose. Okay, he's so cute that I definitely don't want to be frightened of him. Even without the nose, he's cute. Okay, my ghost cake is going to scare no one. Like, seriously, no one. And here it is, my very, very scary buttercream fondant ghost cake. Now this looks scary. Take a good look at our recap.
To make ghost cake, in a bowl, whisk 450 gram softened butter, add 450 gram castor sugar, 8 eggs, 2 teaspoon vanilla extract and whisk it again. Gradually add 450 gram refined flour to the mixture and adjust the batter with 50 ml milk. Whisk it again. Spray 1 to 2 tablespoon butter in a baking container and pour the prepared batter in it. Now in a preheated oven at 180 degrees Celsius, bake for 20 to 25 minutes. Place the prepared sponge cake on the cake mount and cut the top part of the cake. Now, smear 500 gram buttercream on the cake and form 3 layers with the buttercream and sponge cake. Fill all the gaps with extra sponge cake and cover the entire cake with buttercream. Freeze the cake in the refrigerator for 4 hours. Now roll 1.2 kg white fondant icing into a thin sheet and place it on the prepared cake. Cut off the extra edges and make eyes and nose with 100 gram black fondant icing. Your ghost cake is ready.